My name is J.C. Corcoran, and I am been a 35-year vegan. Started out back in the 80s when John Robbins' book, Diet for a New America, came out, and I was just shocked by what I was learning there. At the time, I was doing, I would say, programs for a variety of environmental groups in colleges and universities. I would go into the environmental classes and talk about, the crisis that we're eventually going to have to face. And as I went back to school doing that, I said, I want to go finish my degree. So I went and started taking college classes again. And one of the classes I took was an environmental class, and in the back of the book was an interesting organization called EarthSave. And so I wrote for their literature and found out that everything that I believed about in nutrition was wrong. And it shouldn't have been a surprise to me, because I knew that the government was in the back pocket of industry and they were colluding, and what we were learning about nutrition was actually probably far off base. And that's one of the reasons I started studying hard about nutrition and found out that I could improve my own health and the health of the planet, and certainly the animals' lives. When I started changing up my diet, I started feeling better, and my energy level went up. I would say I was even a better athlete as a result of that in my late 30s than I was through my 20s and 30s. And I played a lot of sports, so I could tell the difference in my performances. So it was really an important realization for me. When I started, I was in my late 30s, and I was starting to look like the standard American. I was putting on weight. I was up around 200 pounds on a 5'10" frame, and I thought I was following the perfect diet, at the time. I was eating lots of animal products and fruits and vegetables and things like that, but I was continually putting on weight. Even though I was playing softball 3 days a week, I was running every other day, I was doing bodybuilding, and I was putting all of this fat on my body. So as soon as I changed up my diet and eliminated animal products, the weight just started melting off. And within 3 or 4 months, I was down 20, 25 pounds. And my physique has stayed that way, even though I've suffered some injuries that prevent me from continuing down the sport path. But I'm very lucky that I found that path, and I'm happy to be on it now. Well, the most important reasons to be vegan are certainly for the planet and for the animals on it, and for yourself. Everyone wants to have a life that's rewarding, that's active, and I've got that lifestyle, and I'm 70 years old now, and I feel great, and I attribute a lot of that to the fact that I switched up my diet so many years ago, 35 years ago or so. As being a firefighter is very difficult. You're on the grounds, you're wearing fire equipment, you've got this heavy tank on, you're breathing from this air pack. So you're carrying around about 50 or 60 extra pounds, and you're going into a fire situation where the temperatures can be 300-400 degrees. So you're working very hard, and so many firefighters, the vast majority of firefighters who die on the job, die on scenes like that because their hearts are not able to handle difficult situations. So when you switch up your diet, your arteries become much cleaner, less chance of developing heart disease and having a heart attack. So heart attacks on fire grounds are the #1 killer of firefighters around the country, around the world. So just that simple reason is enough for me to switch up my diet and make sure that my arteries are clear, and that I'm doing the best for these people who need rescuing, need help. Certainly, I think it's very important for other people to be vegan. If you look just from the perspective of the environment, it's probably the most important thing that you can do for the planet. When you start switching up your diet and going to plants, the impact that you have on the planet is 1/20th of what it would be as a meat eater. So when you look at it from that perspective, and the fact that we've got nearly 8 billion people on the planet now, it's something that's going to have to become a standard for most Americans and most people across the globe. Well, I'm a retired fire captain paramedic, and I made this transformation when I was on the department, the fire department. And I got a lot of ribbing. But as it turns out, I happen to be one of the best athletes on the department. We used to have a traveling softball tournament team, and we would go to the national levels and compete with the biggest cities in the country: Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, all of these huge fire departments that had thousands of people to choose from. And we had a little 100-man department, and we would always be at the top, in the top 10, and one year we were in the top 3. So when I made up my mind to change my diet, and my performance actually improved, it caught the eye of a lot of people in my department. There wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't that big of a challenge when I became vegan. I knew what the facts were. I knew the benefits of it. So the fact that somebody else may, make fun of me or something like that didn't deter me from continuing down that path, because I knew how it was benefiting me. And frankly, the reason that I initially went vegan was for the environment. Then I realized the health benefits of it. And now what really keeps me steadfast in this pursuit of educating the public is that the animals, the suffering that goes on in factory farms, even on considered family farms, there's so much of that suffering. And all of these animals end up in slaughterhouses, and it's horrific what goes on in those places. From the workers that are there to the animals, how they're disassembled. It's just horrific, and I didn't want any part of it any longer. There was one interesting occurrence that happened with my family. We had a Thanksgiving dinner that was planned over at my brother's house, and I said, well, I would love to come, and I will come, but I'm going to come after the dinner because I don't want to have a turkey on the, in the center of the plate. I just don't want to, or center of the table. I just don't want to be part of that. But I would like to come and commune with everybody and have a good time. And my brother and his family and wife thought about it, and they said, we're going to make it a vegan Thanksgiving. And so here, just because I was trying to live my values, they honored that and allowed me to come for the whole meal, which was wonderful. I do have one regret, and that is that I didn't do this sooner. I had opportunities. There was a book by Francis Moore Lappé in 1972 called Diet for a Small Planet, I believe it was called. And I had an opportunity to start out earlier in my life based on that book. But it didn't come across to me, it didn't come into my vision until John Robbins' book, Diet for a New America, came out. But my only regret is that I didn't do this sooner. I've been an activist for a long time. Over 20 years ago, I started Veg Michigan. It's one of the largest vegetarian organizations in the country. Ray and I got together and we started Veg Fund, which is doing outreach around the world. It's got a multi-million-dollar budget now. Ray and I started Santa Fe Vegan, and we also started our own group called Plant Peace Daily. And we also have a foundation now that's called Plant Peace Daily, and we help to fund other activists through that foundation. Some of the ways that I like to talk about veganism is to interject it into conversations in line at a store, or you're shopping or something like that. It's so easy to bring up that subject now, especially now that most people know what a vegan is. And a lot of people are very interested in, to find out more about it. And I'm more than happy to avail them on that. I'll talk endlessly about it, but typically I like to have them asking me questions, and then I ask them questions about their lives, and just kind of reveal who I am and why I do what I do. And I was a captain responsible for training new hirees. Actually, they weren't hirees, they were in waiting, they were reservists. And I would be training them, and one of the requirements I had was that they watch a 1-hour video. It was called Diet for All Reasons, which Michael Clapper had put together probably 30 years ago. And I made them watch this video and take notes because they were tested on it every quarter. I required them to see this and study it, and I gave them also Diet for a New America to watch if they wanted to get more information. So I was able to influence a lot of the new people who were being hired onto the department. And I think it's stuck up for a lot of them, because I keep hearing that many of them have gone vegan. I used to do a lot of programs for weight loss groups, and it was, I would tell these people that one of the easiest ways is to just start pulling out some of the things that are bad in your diet. Like, for instance, everyone has a spaghetti recipe, and almost always it's got ground beef in it. Well, I tell them, leave the ground beef out and put in mushrooms. Chop up mushrooms, put it into your sauce and pasta, and all of a sudden the nutrient value of that food goes up phenomenally, and you eliminate a lot of cholesterol and saturated fat. And that's true for so many different recipes. You don't have to do a lot of changes in the recipes that everybody enjoys already. They simply just need to make some simple substitutions. So much to talk about when it comes to food. I love all sorts of foods. When I came to veganism kind of late in life, in my late 30s, so I had well-established patterns and dietary habits, and so I do enjoy having faux meats and that kind of thing, especially with some of the wonderful ones that are out there, like, for instance, Beyond Meat. Their burgers are incredible. Yeah, I enjoy all sorts of variety of foods, and I incorporate lots of fruits and vegetables into my diet, because I know the huge benefits of having those in our diet. And we prepare them in such a way that they're wonderful to eat and delicious. So it's not difficult at all that way. I make a recipe called grits and greens. So I'll make hominy grits, those yellow hominy grits. And what I'll do is I'll add a little turmeric into it, salt and pepper, a little bit of fat in order to make it super tasty, and then a lot of greens in it, and cook that up. We'll have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches sometimes. Like I was talking about before, substituting out mushrooms in spaghetti, or when we make chili, instead of having ground beef in it, we'll have beans in it, kidney beans or something like that. Soups, lots of wonderful soups and stews. They're all so delicious and so nutritious, so I don't miss out on anything. Well, certainly one of the best organizations to get in touch with if somebody's interested in becoming vegan is Vegan Outreach. I've worked with that organization for a number of years. They've got great information, great health information, and lots of resources in order to make the transitions. And Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, PCRM.org, wonderful information and lots of great stuff there. Also nutritionfacts.org, which is put out by Michael Greger, Dr. Michael Greger. Fabulous information online, and watch his short little videos and learn so much about nutrition. It's something that everyone can do on a daily basis. Switching up your diet and honoring the animals and the planet and your own body. We can bring peace to this world if we all join in on doing that.